The study conducted by the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, NANS, on nighttime eating in relation to meal timing and food quality shows that consuming high-energy density foods before bed is linked to higher all-cause mortality. You might see your nighttime snack as a well-deserved treat. After a long day, that slice of cake, piece of pizza, or cold drink feels like settling the score with your fatigue. But as the years go by, your body changes how it handles these choices. What once seemed harmless now carries extra weight, digestion slows down, sleep becomes lighter, and your heart grows more sensitive to fluctuations in sugar and fat. That's when an innocent habit starts telling a different story. You're watching Life Guidance After 60, a channel created especially to offer advice and life stories for those over 60. Since we're a new channel, we need your help. Please hit like and subscribe to follow our upcoming stories. Think about Evelyn, 73. She enjoys cake with tea before bed. She lies down satisfied, falls asleep quickly, but wakes up in the middle of the night with a racing heart, dry mouth, and a strange sense of confusion. In the morning, she blames the discomfort on aging. But the pattern repeats: sugary snack, broken sleep, sluggish next day. Evelyn realizes that her little nighttime reward comes with steep interest the following morning. There's a trap in seeking reward. After many hours, the brain craves something intense, sweet, salty, fatty. It feels like emotional support, a hug at the end of the day. But it's a hug that squeezes too tight. Fried foods and heavy carbs demand a lot from your stomach while your body tries to rest. Desserts cause blood sugar spikes that crash shortly after. This biochemical roller coaster drains your energy and irritates your mood just when you need calm the most. What if that nighttime snack, so seemingly harmless and comforting, were actually a silent thief, stealing your energy, your sleep, and even your future years? George, 68, decided to quiet his hunger with 2 slices of pizza before bed. He fell asleep thinking everything was under control, but at 2 in the morning, heartburn shot up his throat. He got up for water and spent over an hour trying to fall back asleep. The next day, he felt heavy-headed and mentally sluggish. He swore aging was draining his vitality, when in fact, his nighttime habit was stealing the quality sleep that fuels that vitality. The mature body seeks balance. At night, hormones regulate appetite, blood sugar, and cellular repair. Very fatty or very sugary foods disrupt this quiet agreement. The heart works overtime, the liver scrambles to handle the excess, and the brain receives mixed signals. The result shows up as dizziness when standing, confusion while searching for keys, or memory lapses that frighten you. The problem may seem far removed from the kitchen, but it starts right there. There's also the emotional side of these snacks. Many people eat to fill a void, to delay a thought, or to bring a bit of celebration to the end of the day. It's human. But over time, that comfort becomes routine, and routine becomes a chain. The plate becomes company, and the pillow loses its peace. Replacing that habit with a gentler ritual, a conversation, a warm bath, a simple herbal tea, can be worth more than any dessert. Helen, 76, chooses a cereal to calm down, one of those sugary kinds that promise childhood comfort in every spoonful. She falls asleep quickly but wakes before dawn feeling slightly dizzy. She grips the headboard, takes deep breaths, and tries to convince herself it was just a bad dream. Days later, the same scenario repeats. When she starts writing down what she eats and how she sleeps, the pattern jumps off the page. The cereal offered comfort but planted dizziness. You might be thinking, but it's just a little snack. That's exactly where the danger lies. A simple habit, repeated often, can rewrite years of your life. What goes on your plate at night affects your mind the next day. It influences your mood, your willingness to take a walk, your courage to call a friend, and your patience to listen while a grandchild tells a long story. Health isn't just the absence of pain, it's the presence of energy and clarity. There's another detail many overlook. The window between your last meal and sleep is already a conversation your body is having with you. If that conversation happens peacefully, rest comes as an invitation. If it happens in conflict, rest becomes a silent battle. Gas, heartburn, restlessness, midnight trips to the bathroom, all of this fragments your sleep, and sleeping in pieces never fully repays what the day took in full. What if that slice of pizza or bowl of cereal before bed wasn't just a snack, but the hidden trigger behind restless nights, foggy memory, and energy that keeps vanishing? This is the turning point, recognizing that your nighttime snack, no matter how small it seems, shapes the quality of your tomorrow. When you look at your plate before bed, you're not just choosing flavor, you're choosing memory, balance, and safety when you get up in the middle of the night. You're choosing how you'll wake up to enjoy what you love, a light walk, a long conversation, a lingering hug. Keep this in mind for now, the mature body appreciates gentle choices at night. And although many believe everything is the same, certain foods and habits can radically change your story. From here on, the path becomes clearer, and the pieces start falling into place. Many people think it's enough to avoid heavy fried foods or alcoholic drinks before bed and assume they're protected, but the truth is the danger goes far beyond that. There's a list of foods that, despite seeming ordinary, act as silent saboteurs of rest and the health of the aging body. Fast food like burgers and fries remains the obvious villain, demanding more from the stomach than it can deliver when it should be winding down. But sweets, filled cookies, and even that seemingly harmless scoop of ice cream hide a far more treacherous impact. Sugar, when consumed at night, creates a brief burst of energy, only to crash shortly afterward. This abrupt shift disrupts sleep-related hormones, leaving the body on high alert when it should be resting. For an older adult, who already deals with natural blood sugar fluctuations, this can mean insomnia, dizziness upon waking in the middle of the night, and even an increased risk of falls. It's at this point that a simple dessert takes on the power of a hidden enemy. James, 70, had a habit of eating donuts after dinner. It was almost a ritual, 2 donuts and a soda before bed. For a while, he believed it brought him nothing but pleasure. But episodes of mental fog began increasing, along with forgetfulness. At first, he blamed aging. Then he noticed his symptoms worsened every time after his little nighttime treats. The connection seemed obvious in hindsight, but the realization hit him like a shock, that innocent habit was stealing his mental clarity. And it's not just sweets. Ultra-processed snacks like chips and microwave popcorn loaded with butter contain high levels of sodium and chemical additives. These ingredients cause dehydration, inflammation, and raise blood pressure, precisely during the hours when the body should be recovering. A handful of chips before bed might seem harmless, but for someone with unstable blood pressure, it could trigger a night of anxiety and restlessness. Another often overlooked issue is the effect of fatty meats and processed deli meats. Bacon, sausage, chorizo, and salami are packed with saturated fats and preservatives that force the body to keep working deep into the night. Instead of resting, the liver has to process the excess. The heart, which should be slowing down, speeds up. For older adults, each night lost this way creates an opening for problems that could have been avoided. Margaret, 74, always made herself a white bread sandwich with salami whenever late-night hunger struck. She thought it was lighter than a full meal. But night started bringing unexpected discomforts, heart palpitations, dry mouth, and a heavy feeling that lingered into the next day. When her doctor explained that the combination of refined bread and processed meat might be sabotaging her rest, she realized that simple meal was costing her far more than she'd imagined. Beverages also play a role in this story. Sodas and packaged fruit juices, loaded with sugar and artificial dyes, disrupt sleep and increase insulin resistance. Alcohol, rather than relaxing you, actually alters sleep cycles and prevents the body from reaching deep, restorative sleep. Many believe a glass of wine helps them sleep, but waking up tired the next morning is proof the effect was only superficial. What if what you put on your plate before bed mattered more for your tomorrow than any medication or doctor's visit? A simple snack can be the thin line separating a restful night from an entire day of confusion, fatigue, and invisible risks. What once seemed like just a little nighttime indulgence gradually becomes something much bigger. Every poor choice made in the quiet of night accumulates, and the body responds with fatigue, memory lapses, dizziness, and even more serious risks. The most striking detail is that people almost never notice until the warning signs become impossible to ignore. Among all the hidden dangers in nighttime snacking, there's one that rarely gets the attention it deserves, precisely because it disguises itself as something practical and harmless: leftovers. Saving rice or pasta for the next day seems like a sensible act of thrift, a way to avoid waste. But for those over 60, this habit can carry invisible and devastating risks. The culprit is a microscopic enemy called Bacillus cereus. This bacterium forms heat-resistant spores that survive even after reheating. What looked like a plain, simple dish can turn into a disguised poison. Robert, 72, used to cook a large batch of rice on Sundays to make his week easier. He'd reheat portions every night, never imagining what lay hidden in that routine. He started experiencing mild nausea, followed by bouts of diarrhea, which he chalked up to a sensitive stomach. One evening, after eating rice that had been stored for 2 days, he ended up in the hospital. The diagnosis was food poisoning, and the doctor explained that at his age, such an infection could be far more dangerous than it would be for a younger adult. The scare served as a wake-up call. This wasn't just about food, it was about survival. What makes this threat so insidious is that it gives no clear warnings. The rice looks fresh, the pasta appears normal, and the smell seems acceptable, but the danger is there, hidden. Unlike spoiled meat, which has a strong, unmistakable odor, Bacillus cereus goes unnoticed. That's why so many people trust the appearance of their meal and assume they're safe. Yet the more fragile body of an older adult reacts intensely to these microorganisms, causing fever, vomiting, and dehydration, symptoms that can lead to serious complications within just a few hours. Susan, 76, had a habit of making large batches of spaghetti bolognese, always believing that making life easier was the right path. One evening, after reheating leftovers and eating alone, she felt something was wrong just a few hours later. Sharp cramps hit hard, followed by persistent vomiting. What had seemed like a practical meal turned into a night of pain and vulnerability. At the hospital, the truth was harsh: the meal stored too long had become a trap. Susan, who had always taken care of her family, realized that small oversights could put her at serious risk. This kind of situation brings a powerful reflection. Often, the greatest dangers don't lie in extravagant choices, but in the small conveniences of everyday life. Leaving a pot of rice on the stove, waiting for the right moment to refrigerate it, might seem like a minor detail. But details like this, when repeated, build silent risks. For someone whose immune system is already more sensitive, each lapse can open an unwanted door. More than just a warning about food poisoning, this is a call for attention and self-care. After all, independence and health depend on conscious choices, even in automatic, routine actions. What seemed like a simple time saver might actually cost you nights of sleep, days of recovery, and even threaten your life. It's at this point the story shifts tone. What everyone assumed was just leftover food becomes the heart of a profound lesson about caring for and taking responsibility for your own health. What if that leftover rice or pasta, so practical and seemingly harmless, were hiding an invisible enemy capable of turning a peaceful night into a health nightmare? There comes a moment when the story must come full circle. After so many warnings, the real revelation isn't just about what to avoid, but about the hidden power in simple choices. For years, many believed that giving up fried foods, sweets, and leftover rice was a kind of sacrifice, a burden too heavy to carry. But what looked like denial turns out, in the end, to be a gift in disguise. Replacing those risks with light, nourishing alternatives doesn't take away pleasure, it restores vitality. Take Richard, 75. He decided to swap his nightly soda for a cup of unsweetened chamomile tea. At first, it felt insignificant, almost bland. But soon he noticed the changes. He slept better, woke up with more energy, and his memory felt sharper. That small gesture, repeated night after night, became a quiet revolution. He realized he wasn't just avoiding risks, he was building a path of strength and independence. Mary, 70, found her own turning point. She'd always loved desserts but chose to replace them with fresh fruit and a small handful of nuts. Week by week, she felt the difference: less heartburn, less fatigue when getting up, and more energy to play with her grandchildren. Before she knew it, she'd achieved something that once seemed impossible: peaceful nights and energetic mornings. The sweetness she'd sought in sugar was now found in the quality of life she'd chosen for herself. This is where the unexpected conclusion emerges: nighttime health shapes daytime health. What you put on your plate before bed determines not only how you'll sleep, but how your entire next day will unfold. This isn't about restriction, it's about wisdom. Eating mindfully becomes an act of self-love, an investment in the time you still have to live, laugh, hug, learn, and teach. The lesson is clear and powerful: the smallest detail, a piece of fruit, a light soup, or a glass of water, can shape the length and quality of your coming years. Deep down, aging well isn't about grand promises, it's about quiet, almost invisible choices repeated every day. Each night is an invitation to choose between heaviness and lightness, between risk and protection, between living halfway or living fully. And it's in this moment that the true message hits home: caring about nighttime eating isn't just prevention, it's also freedom. Freedom to wake up without pain, to walk without fear, to plan tomorrow with enthusiasm. Those who understand this truth discover that aging can be a time of discovery, not limitation. By saying goodbye to a dangerous plate, you're actually making room for more joyful years ahead. What if the real source of energy and vitality in later life wasn't expensive medications or miracle cures, but something as simple as what you choose to put on your plate before bed? Some healthy food options to enjoy before sleeping. Light, fiber-rich fruits. Apple, with skin, sliced, pear, kiwi, papaya, strawberries, cantaloupe, fresh plum. These are rich in fiber, vitamins, and water. They promote fullness without overloading the stomach. Our channel was created to share meaningful guidance and reflections for those living the best chapter of life, after 60. We're still at the beginning of this journey, and we need your support to grow. So please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and help spread these messages of inspiration.